Hello, I'm William Longfellow, and welcome to Let's Play Super Mario Kart. Today I'll be racing the Star Cup with Mario here, who has a higher top speed than the last two characters I used, so hopefully I'll race well enough to achieve that top speed and show you what it's like to blast through a course in Super Mario Kart. Although it'll be difficult in this course because that long stretch of shallow water there. The shallow water slows you down, not quite as much as like the grass in the Donut Plains courses, but enough to be a big disadvantage. So what I like to do, I try to hop over the more narrow passages of shallow water, like this little channel here, but when I come into the long stretch, what I do is I start a drift into it. And you don't really need to finish the drift, but what it does is it lessens your deceleration. So I was able to resume right after there with almost the same speed. Not quite as much, but about the same speed, and that's the way to try to keep it up as much as you can in the Koopa Beach courses. And you saw on the last lap there that I didn't turn with the course. Instead I went straight towards the finish line, and that's a trick that's useful for any course really, but especially the Koopa Beach courses, which follow these circular paths where the finish line is a little bit at an angle from the path that you're taking. On the last lap, it's always a good idea to go straight towards the finish line as opposed to following the track, because that'll shave off a little bit of time, and if you're in a pinch, it can help you win. And here we have the second Choco Island course, and the first one had these little puddles, but this one has this very large puddle, and you're a better player than I am if you can manage to get through this puddle without losing pretty much all of your speed there. What I try to do is I come off a drift to enter this mud puddle. If you try to drift in the mud puddle, it'll draw you all over the place. Your controls will be extremely touchy in the mud puddle. So I try to avoid doing that and try to just race straight in the mud puddle, but right before I like to come off a drift like that and then hop right before hitting the mud puddle. That ensures that I spend the least amount of time there. And if I'm feeling confident, sometimes I'll try to space myself right in the middle between the mud puddle and the side of the track, kind of like that. It shaves off, again, just a little bit of time that you spend in the mud puddle. And if you're better than I am, maybe you can travel the whole thing in that tiny little area between the mud puddle and the side of the track. Though usually what happens when I try to do that is I just get caught in the side of the track, and that's even slower than the mud puddle. And here we have the Vanilla Lake course, and I'll just say right here that I'm very bad at Vanilla Lake courses. I have a lot of trouble gathering any speed at all on these. A lot of the time because I'm trying to avoid all the obstacles, like that pipe. This course requires a lot more precision than I'm used to be able to race well and also avoid the obstacles. Because you have the snow on the side that slows you down. You have the ice blocks, and you also have the pipes in your way. And if you're racing as poorly as I am, the computers also provide obstacles. Peach is throwing her mushrooms at me. In my time attack of the Star Cup with Tiny Bowser, I was able to sort of figure out in a little way how to race this course, but I got something like 57 seconds on this course with Tiny Bowser, but I am not that well practiced with Mario here, so usually I just sort of shamble through the course. You saw right there though that it was a bit more difficult for me, even though I stayed in first place for most of the race, because Peach was following me right there and throwing mushrooms at me, so that's one reason why it's good to keep a lead, because if you don't, the computers will throw stuff at you, and it'll become much more likely that you fall behind because you hit something. And this Bowser Castle course is filled with walls. That's the main trouble I have here. Walls and thwomps that get in your way. And these jumps also are a little bit troublesome. The computers have a lot of trouble with them. You'll see them, like right there, Peach on the top of the screen failed to make the jump correctly, so actually she's not in first place, or second place, like she normally is. And if you're traveling at high enough speed, you'll also fail to make this jump right here. I wasn't going quite fast enough, but if I managed to race well enough to, well enough to not do that. Thumps don't usually crush me, but those ones are particularly well placed to do that, because you don't really have any way around them. But you can see the computers are racing poorly enough so that, despite that bad mistake there, I'm still well in first place. And I'm going very fast, so what I'm going to do is I hop over with the R button. I hop over the first jump right there, because if I go too fast, well, today's my lucky day. If I go too fast on those hops, then I'm going to make the same mistake the computers do and fall in the lava. So the best way to pass those little jump areas without falling in the lava and while keeping up your speed is to hop over them. That requires a bit of good timing, so if you're not as confident in your timing, then you can just slow yourself down and make your way through the jump. And since the computers do very poorly at this course, that may be the best plan to pass that obstacle. And here we have the final course of the Star Cup, the Mario Circuit, which is fitting because I'm using Mario here. This is home circuit, so hopefully I'll have a bit of a hometown advantage here, but probably not because I'm not very good at this course. This one features another hairpin. That seems to be the theme of the later Mario Circuit courses. But I think it's a little bit easier than the last one, because you also have these long areas to gather speed. And if I race well enough, I'll be able to not lose much speed on this hairpin. It's very difficult to race through the hairpin without sacrificing some speed, but it's possible. Let's see if I can do it this time. You need to make the turn just at the right angle, and then when you're coming off the turn, you do that. Now, I did let my finger off the accelerator a moment there, but when you sort of hop back as if you were turning to the left, it gives you a little spurt to the right initially, and that's a good way to space yourself correctly for the next passage, and that's my way of taking the hairpin. So, again, I let my finger off the accelerator just a little bit there, but I was able to keep up almost all my speed through the hairpin by spacing it pretty well. This course also provides opportunities to, especially on that first funky little S-curve at the beginning, opportunities to take sort of alternate paths. So for instance, if you have a bunch of computers that are hounding you, or if they're laying obstacles on the course, you can take the sandy way across. And you'll lose a lot of speed, but perhaps you'll avoid an obstacle or be able to stay ahead of the computer in a certain way. So that's useful to keep in mind. And that went by without too much difficulty. And that doesn't always happen. I'm not very good at the Star Cup. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll be tackling the Special Cup in the next video. See ya!